Okay, Mr. Hoover, so the last time we met, you'd already started implementing some of the plans that we had discussed initially. You told me you were using a chart to see how he was doing each day, giving him points based on specific behaviors, and that goes along with the contract that we talked about. So at this point, we had several ideas, and I know you've implemented several of them. What is working, what's not working?
I know we had an overall goal of like 50% change
Right.
By the end of the first month. We haven't reached that goal. I mean, we're probably, if I was to guess, 35% maybe. So there has been some progress, but there's still times where he acts out a little bit, or does continue to get out of his seat.
So what are some of the specific?
I've been able to talk to the parents.
Okay.
Once or twice. I think 2 times since we have met. They're both just extremely busy people, so it's hard to really get feedback on how they do things at home, because I asked them if there was things that they could do with their structure at home, maybe to, if he did the same thing at the dinner table, or if he did the same thing whenever they were watching a movie together. He was always up and down, and so I haven't really been able to communicate a lot with them. So that's probably kind of set back some of our goals. And then he was working okay with the other students for a little bit.
Okay, with having a peer helper?
Yeah, but the past week or so, it's kind of, I think he's just getting used to the young man that's with him, so he's learned how to kind of manipulate him a little bit, or just get around some of that influence.
So what are some things maybe we could do to help with that? Since, getting used to him, do you have other students possibly that you could put him with?
Yeah, I'm thinking honestly about possibly partnering up with this young lady that I have in the class, because I know it's maybe an awkward situation, but he's kind of shy around the girls, so if I sit him, he's not as rambunctious around them, so maybe if I place him with her, he'll be less likely to speak out of turn or just voluntarily get up, because it's I think he may want to impress them, but he's still embarrassed by certain things.
So having a partner is helping, but maybe changing it up some, the way you do it, having a female instead of a male.
Because the first 2 weeks, I noticed a big change, because the young man I had him with, he wouldn't tell him what to do. But
and he was earning more of those points on your point sheet?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then he kind of just plateaued for a little while. But we did, I do continue. I've had to talk to him one-on-one a couple of times, but that kind of still gets the same results it always has.
What about the preventative stuff, like rearranging the classroom? How has that helped?
That's something that I have just started.
Okay.
Because remember, that was our last resort. I was trying to do these other sets before messing with everybody else's comfort.
So you wanted to wait. Okay. And
I was trying to do everything up and do whatever I could before having to rearrange the whole classroom.
Okay, so how has it been since you've rearranged the classroom?
It's helped, I think, a little bit. It kind of got off that plateau, it kind of boosted, just changing up his environment, I think, is what kind of throws him off a little bit, because he's not used to it, so he's having to, I don't know if it's a mind thing for him, if it's seeing things differently. He's not comfortable with it yet. Once he gets comfortable, then he starts acting up again, because it's kind of what he did with the student, and that's what he's done with. So he'll do when I meet with him. He'll feel like he's in trouble for a little bit, but then he realizes, okay, it's been a few days, maybe I can do it again. But.
Well, let me ask you. You have the point sheets. Is there any reward system? Have you been using rewards at all, or maybe that's something we could talk about today? Is helping.
Yeah, I haven't really done rewards with him yet, but that is something maybe I could do, because I didn't want to. I was unsure how to approach it, because I didn't want to seem like I was rewarding him whenever he's acting like I already expect the other students to act, and they're not getting anything. So I didn't.
And we don't have to look at it as a reward. maybe we could talk to him about just things that motivate him, just finding something that motivates him. If we know that him having a conversation with you isn't motivating, I mean, it could be something as simple as, a look from you, just a smile when he knows that he's doing well, or, I mean, kids are motivated for different things. Maybe, 5 extra minutes doing this, or something even educational. You can listen to your story today instead of read it. And maybe you can just even discuss that with him and let him take ownership of what his reward would be.
I mean, that's probably a better idea of a reward for him. That way the other students don't feel like, they're not getting some luxury that
Right.
he is for some reason.
Right. I mean, you've got a whole class to take care of.
It won't look so obvious that he's getting that, but it'll be something different for him. So that's a good idea.
So overall, the plan is moving forward. Just kind of had some hang-ups.
There's been progress. It's just he's there's those kids that they capture your attention for a while, and he's going to be one of those that I'll have to stay on him probably for the rest of the year, just so when he advances up a grade, the next teacher don't have this problem with him.
And it's a trial and error, and maybe finding that motivation for him too would be helpful.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that is true.
Well, what I'll do this week is, I guess if you're going to do talk to him about motivation, if you can get a hold of the parents. I know that was kind of where you were, that you mentioned for some issues. If that's helpful, and then rearranging the classroom, well, I'll call you in a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, and see if that's working, and just check in on it. Because at this point, I mean, you really got the ball going. You're seeing progress, and maybe making a few other changes and stuff. But I mean, I can see, how the changes affected and the difference that it's made. And just on your point sheet, you can see where his behavior, like you said, his behavior was up initially, kind of went down, and then as you've made changes, it's continued to increase. And with that being the case, I mean, we know changing it up is, and that's what you're doing. So I'll just call you in a couple of days and see how that's going. And of course, if you have questions or come up on something, then just give me a call. And then we'll meet again and see if there's any other things that we need to do and how it's going. At this point, I think it's, like you said, it's been going well and pretty solid. So, great.
Well, thank you.
Okay, after I talked to you at the end of last week, you'd already done the motivation chart with Johnny. You'd identified some motivators, and we're going to try that this week. And so here on Wednesday, and I just want to check in and see how's that going for you. Do you have any?
I'm impressed with him. The past week, he's been. I guess whenever you focus so much on a kid, you notice like all the small things that they do differently. So as I talked to him, I had a conversation with him whenever we left that day. Kind of just sat down and kind of presented to him some of the amenities that he could have, that would help maybe his classroom, understanding even get better in his grades, because he's able to do things in a different way. And just kind of what I expected once again, and reminded him of what our contract was. And I kind of brought that back out and said, remember, this is what you committed to. And but he's been very motivated, it seems like, because, he'll do something and kind of look to me for a acknowledgement of some sort, and I'll give him one, or I'll,
So that appropriate attention, like we talked about initially,
give him some kind of like just one pat on the back, and he feels, he kind of gets puffed up a little bit, like, wow, I'm doing good. So
good.
I'm proud of him. I think it's helping. I was able to meet with his parents this week. They come to pick him up one day, and they were together. So it was good. I kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone instead of having to chase each of them down or talk to them separately. So I caught them real quickly. It was brief, but I was able to talk to them while they were about to pull off in their vehicle. And just in front of them, or in front of Johnny, I talked to them and said, I'm very proud of his progress and, what he's been doing. That way he kind of heard me. It wasn't negative. He wasn't thinking just because every time I talk to his parents it's going to be a bad thing. it would be a positive thing as well. So that would maybe encourage him to get more and more good reports, because you don't know what life is at home. So
Sure.
if he's getting good reports, then he might feel more comfortable at home, because he might have a better environment, to
That's
be in.
great. So you've made, two things that we talked about last week when we met and then over the phone that were issues you identified last week, seem to be resolved.
Yeah.
We talked about moving the classroom up. How is that going? Is that still something that needs to be worked on, or?
I think we're okay with it now from where I moved at that initial time. It's only been 2 weeks since I moved it, and that don't seem to be an issue now.
Okay, good.
And I've not really had to worry about the peer influence in the past week or so. I just took the gentleman that I once had with him and removed him, and just kind of changed their seating arrangements up and stuff. And I didn't assign the girl to him yet, just because I wanted to just see.
Okay, that's great. See how it goes, and then.
So it's been okay. So if he starts to act up again, I'll be like, do I really need to give you another peer? And see, then he might be like, no, because I think he got to the point where he really liking it. So
you really got him in at least restrictive right now. That's good.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll make him feel free and like he's doing it on his own, and take some ownership of his behavior instead of.
And his point sheets were great. I can see the difference, and you can really. Before, like if you look at his first point sheet, they were low, and how they got higher, and then here we are here, and we're really, that's really close to a 50% improvement than last time. I know we're not totally on schedule. It's about the end of about the end of the month, so we're not at 50%, but that's definitely a good place to be.
We're close. We're definitely satisfactory, because I know we were maybe overshooting the goal in the first place, but that gives you a better result in the long run when you can overshoot it some. So, but I think we're making very good progress. So.
Well, good. It seems like everything is at this point moving slowly. Smoothly, even better than last week. I'll call you again at the end of this week, and hopefully at this point I'll call you at the end of this week, and then call next week, unless there's some other issue you need me to come in. This may be our last meeting face-to-face. Of course I'll see you in the school, but as far as with this child, this may be the last time we have to meet for this, unless there's a new behavior. So, but again, if there are any questions or problems, just give me a call.
I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you.